We're officially into our final month of winter for 2025, and we're also over halfway through our homeschool year. But something has got to give because I am currently in a state of pure overwhelm and it's not going very well for anyone. We've also made a few changes and I want to share those with you today. So keep watching. Hello and welcome here. I am Christine, a homeschooling mom of 3 kids who are currently 10, 8, and 6 years old. And we've been homeschooling for 6 years now, and I am a second generation homeschooler. So love homeschooling, love talking about homeschooling. Please subscribe if you want to see lots of homeschool curriculum reviews, real life updates on how life is actually going while homeschooling, and just general homeschool mom encouragement and what's the word I'm looking for? Not like admonishment, but like I want to encourage you in a way that sometimes convicts you and makes you want to like do better and grow in yourself as a mom without tearing you apart and pushing you down, because that is not what I want. I love that verse in Proverbs about iron sharpening iron, and that's how a good friendship should be. That is how I hope that I am to all of you. So if you want that, please subscribe. I am going to be sharing chatty update on how homeschooling went for us in the month of July. It's the 31st of July as I'm sitting here filming this. It will be the first week of August when you see this video come out. We have wrapped up our homeschooling for the month of July. It's been a full month and I've got a bit to share with you. We have made, I think, just one change, kind of, but yeah, made a change. Things are a little different. We've added a few things in. I'm just going to chat about how I'm doing because it's very much relating to homeschooling and some things that I'm thinking about to try and ease the overwhelm that I'm currently living in. And it is 100% my own doing. So let's talk about how to undo my own doing, okay? All right, let's go over curriculum because that's fun to chat about. My kids are 10, 8, and 6 years old. My 2 girls are my 8 and 6-year-olds, and they're going to be 9 and 7 in a couple of months, which is just crazy to me, but also very exciting. And overall, our homeschooling is going very well. I'm very proud of my kids. They're doing so well this year. I feel like, especially my older 2, are having to push themselves more with their academics, and it's been really great to see them rise to the challenge. So the biggest hurdle we've had this year has just been getting kids to sort of wait their turn as far as when I'm available to help with their schoolwork and learn how to just mark something that they don't understand and need help with, and I can get back to them when it's their turn to work with me and we can work on that instead of them interrupting me with their siblings. Yeah, so we've been working on that. That's been one of our biggest challenges, and overall that's going well. So let's chat group subjects. I don't think that I have changed anything there. Everything's been going well with our group subjects. I don't think I've moved anything away. We've been using Berean Builders for our science. We've been using Sunlight History, A Gentle Feast for our enrichment studies kind of thing. And we're just continuing with that. But I did add a couple of fun read alouds in. I went to the Heart Retreat here in New Zealand. They hold it around the country, but this one was in Waikato, which is kind of central North Island-ish area. And it was my first year going. It was really great. I met a bunch of great homeschool moms. It was a very cool experience to be surrounded by just homeschool moms. I think there were about 150 or something around that, and all Christian homeschool moms. It was a faith-based conference, and that was just not something I've ever experienced before. It was very, very encouraging. They had like a curriculum swap and buy-sell swap situation going on, which was great. And then they also had a bunch of vendors come in, curriculum and just book vendors come, and I got to purchase a few things. I only purchased 3 books, and actually one, it's not a homeschool book, it's one that is just a personal one that I got, so I don't have that with me, but I got a couple specifically for our homeschool, and we've been reading these for the past few weeks. So the first one is the New Zealand Bird Book, and this is, if you've heard of Burgess Bird Book, is that how the title? I can't remember what off the top of my head, but it's a very famous one, especially in like Charlotte Mason circles. They use it for nature study, and it's like a bird book, but written as little stories about the birds. So it's a living book, it's teaching, but it's written as like little stories about birds. Well, a very clever homeschool mom here in New Zealand has done the same thing, but with New Zealand specific birds. They're not all native birds, but they are birds that you see in New Zealand. It is so well done. I've been very impressed. If I can find a link to where you can purchase them, I will put it in the description, but I don't know if she actually had a website. I've seen her like sharing about it in Facebook groups, and then she was there at the event. And so because I had seen it online, I had already been thinking about purchasing it. And then I saw it and I was like, oh, I need to grab it while I'm here. So she had it available in hard copy and soft cover. This was $30, which I thought was New Zealand dollars, which I thought was very reasonable. And it is very well done. So you go along, the main character is a rabbit, and it's how he meets all these birds and he finds out about them. And there's even like a little link where you can go and it tells you all the different bird calls. You can listen to them. It's got the names in Latin, English, and Māori, which is very cool. And there's even some activity ideas at the back and like some little tests and stuff about the birds. So we've just been reading this every second day, just a chapter out of it, and all the kids are enjoying it. So that's been really fun. And they've even like this week, even just yesterday, I think it was, they were looking outside and they're like, oh mom, look, there's that bird that we've just read about. And I've never seen one in our yard before. And I don't know that they've never been in our yard before. I just think my kids are looking for them now, whereas they weren't before. So highly recommend that book. And then this is the other one I got, and this is from Lithos Kids. I feel like if you haven't heard of Lithos Kids at the moment, you might not be watching anything on YouTube or Instagram in the homeschool realm, because these have been very highly recommended by a lot of homeschool mums. No, I hadn't seen this book in particular. This is called The Man Soul Chronicles. It's book 1, The Fall and Rise of Man's Soul. And it is inspired by John Bunyan's classic allegory, The Holy War. So that's what this one is about. We've also been reading this one every second day. We've been alternating between these two because the kids couldn't decide which one we should start with first. So I was like, well, why don't we read one chapter one day and one the other? And so that's how we've been doing it. I saw the Little Pilgrim's Progress. That's one I've mostly seen recommended. I've also seen their storybook Bible recommended, but I hadn't seen this one yet. And I didn't get the Little Pilgrim's Progress. They had it there because I actually have a Pilgrim's Progress book, and I just didn't feel like I could justify the money because they're not cheap books. But I didn't have this, and this looked so good. And I will say we have been really, really enjoying this. All my kids have enjoyed this. The illustrations are so well done, and it's very like almost like Chronicles of Narnia-ish as far as the symbolism and all of that goes. It's beautiful. But I think one of my favorite things is that at the end of each chapter, there is a chapter summary. And then there's discussion questions and how you can apply the allegory. So I like that it doesn't just leave it up to the kids to figure it out, because some of the symbolism is probably, like for sure, my 6-year-old, she's not going to connect the dots with a lot of the things. So I feel like this has been a great tool for the age my kids are at. They are, like I said, 10, 8, and 6. And it's just been great. My older kids keep connecting the dots with Bible stories that they've heard through Sunday school and at home. My youngest daughter also is like clicking with different things. I really like this, and it's made me consider getting their storybook Bible set for my youngest daughter and going through that with her next year, because she'd be a great age for that. Not to mention that it's actually just really stunning. I mean, there's like gold and it's just beautiful. So, and it has a bookmark. So those were two of my purchases. I got one other one, which is like a quote book with scripture in it as well. It's beautiful. That's like a whole nother thing. And I won't go into it just because it's not specifically homeschool related, but these were the two that I got, and both of them have been fantastic. So I'll link both of these. If I can, I will link both of them down in the description below. If I can't link this one, I'll at least leave like the title down there, and maybe you can search it in Facebook if you're in New Zealand and it will come up. I don't know, but both fantastic little treasures. So I've added those to our group subjects. We've just kind of tacked that on. Okay, now on to the kids and what they've been doing. I'm going to start with my eldest and work my way down to my youngest. I made a change with my son. He's had a little bit of back and forth with language arts this year. So I think I told you in my last update that I had added in Fix-It grammar for him. I think I told you that. If I didn't, it was in my email. If you're not on my email list, that's also linked in the description. Go and join it, because I always share things there first and kind of nut things out a little bit more in the emails that I send. But he started Fix-It grammar because I just felt like he needed a bit more practice. He's been using learning language arts through literature. And he needed something a little bit more straightforward. We didn't switch from that, but he's been using the grammar on top of that. And then I was like looking for next year and trying to figure out what I wanted to do because I was getting a lot of pushback from him with language arts and things were not gelling like I hoped they would. So what I did, because it's been on my radar for a while, is I got the free sample of IEW's Structure and Style. They've got, I think, 3 weeks for free that you can try. And I had him start on that to see how he would go. And I didn't think I was going to go with it because I didn't want video-based everything just yet. However, Fix-It Grammar's worked so well for him. He really likes the style of it. It's just short and to the point. And so I was like, let's just try it and see how he does. Well, he has just really enjoyed it. And I cannot believe how well he's doing with it. First of all, he thinks Mr. Buddha was hysterically funny. So that's been great. And I will say, like, his teaching style is fantastic. And I just know, like, being a homeschool student, homeschool graduate myself, that the way in which something is taught makes a massive difference. And I just really am grateful that he gelled with him right away, because we have used some other things in the past where he hasn't clicked. And so he kind of was like, I don't want to do online stuff. I don't want to do this. And that's what was holding me back. So I tried the trial out. We did the first week and a half and he was like, I really like this. And I ordered it after the first week. And I really had to think through it because it is not cheap. I think getting it here to New Zealand was like $400 New Zealand dollars. So shipping is expensive, not to mention that the program itself is expensive. So I started him on level, Structure and Style, year 1, level A. I just would rather him start on something that's not overly challenging, and then if we need to switch to the level B, we can. But I didn't want to start on something that's super long because he's never done any really formal writing. So I thought we would just start slowly and go from there. And he's doing so well with it. So he just finished his first composition and I had to do just about nothing. Like, I was shocked. He just sat down and wrote, and he was so proud, like doing his keyword outline summaries to me, like out loud. And then he did it for his dad the other night. And it's been really cool to see him rise to the challenge without having to push and push and push. And there's been like no pushback. He's really enjoying it. I think he's very much like me in the sense that he likes rules and guidelines, and creative writing just doesn't come naturally to him. And that doesn't mean that I'm never going to get him to do that kind of thing. But for now, this style of teaching seems to be working really well. And so that leaves us with learning language arts with literature and this. And I was like, but I love learning language arts with literature. But I was coming to the realization that he really doesn't. It just was not his thing. And what we are doing, because I've got books that go along with it for the book study. So he's still going to do the book studies this year because they're quite simple and straightforward. And he is a very fast reader. So he's still going to do those. He's done one. He's just started on the second one. And then he's got one more before the end of the year. And then what I might do is with Structure and Style, they've got literature suggestions in here if I want to. Otherwise, the history curriculum we're using next year is going to have literature for him to do, which I've already got for him. There's just like so many book lists I can pull from, so I'm not overly concerned about that. But he has started on this, he's enjoying it, and it's definitely taken a bit of a load off of me with teaching. I'm still very much involved in looking over his work. Like, I want to understand how the teaching method works and everything, so I certainly haven't like palmed it off. So far, that's working well. And I think that's the only change we made, and we will continue with that. We did add in IXL just for practice, and he's doing great with that. He just does like a couple of things a day. And what else is he doing? Type C is what he's been using for his typing, and he's doing really well with that and actually enjoying it, which if you've watched my videos from earlier in the year, you know that he was not enjoying typing at the beginning of the year. So let's move on to my middle daughter. And I don't think I've changed anything for her. Everything's the same. She's using All About Reading, level 3. She's not that far from the end of it. I think we're not that far from the end of it. And then she's halfway through grade 3 Math with Confidence. She's also using IEXL just for some practice, and then she's also been doing a bit of extra math just for her math facts to keep those nice and fresh, because she isn't as quick with them as I would prefer her to be. So that's just a little bit of practice she's been doing. But overall, her school's doing pretty well. I did print out some lessons from level 2, the Good and the Beautiful language arts, because she does like the pretty stuff and the writing and all of that. And of course, she doesn't get all of that in All About Reading. So she's doing those, but those are definitely an optional add-on. They're not necessary. So I just have it there for when she wants to do it. And then there's my youngest daughter, and she has been doing great. I told you in my last update that we had switched to the Art of Reading, and so many of you are really excited about that program. I'm so glad, because we've been enjoying it. So she has been using the Art of Reading. This is a brand new reading curriculum. If you haven't heard of it, if you didn't see it in my last video update, this is stage 1. There's going to be 3 stages. Stage 2 is coming out toward the end of this year, and then stage 3 will be released in 2026. It is, if you want simple and to the point, but also pretty and engaging, this is the reading curriculum for you. So I'm going to be doing a flip through video. It'll be out next week. I'm really looking forward to showing you inside, but she's doing great with this. I'm really proud of her and how hard she's pushing with her reading, because it's not coming as easily to her as it did her older siblings. So, but she's just determined. She just wants to keep pushing through. And then we've moved on to grade 1 math with confidence. So she started out with she did kindergarten last year, and we kind of stopped because she just hit a point where she wasn't getting it. And then we kind of repeated this year, but then she was flying through it. And so I was like, right, we're ready to move on to first grade. So I wouldn't usually like skip through things, but in first grade, there's a lot of repetition of kindergarten. And so I was confident moving forward. So we're up to, I think we're only 4 weeks into that, but she's doing great with it. And her number sense is definitely developing, and she's clicking with things. So that's been really encouraging to see. And everything else for her has stayed the same, except I've added this in because this is a sneaky new release from the same wonderful woman who has created the Art of Reading. I think it's Foundations of Homeschool is her website. I will have it linked down below for you guys. You can go check out her stuff. She does a free sample of this one, and she's just releasing her handwriting. So she sent this to me as a little preview copy, and my daughter's just started it and is loving it. And it's got the same amazing intentionality, simplicity, and fun and engagement in it as the Art of Reading does. So there's a little sneak peek. I don't know if you can see it. Hopefully the camera's like, hopefully, are you zoomed in? There we go. And it may look like any other handwriting curriculum, but I have used a few, and this is different from anything I've used before. I would say it's kind of like handwriting without tears, in like teaching letter formation and like the cool little not rhyming things, but like ways that you teach kids to draw them and remember them, mixed with like the fun of the Good and the Beautiful, the fun and prettiness of the Good and the Beautiful. But it's unique, it's its own thing. So yeah, she's added it, and she's still doing handwriting from the Good and the Beautiful as well, because she loves handwriting. And yeah, so she's doing quite a bit of that, but we've added all in. She's been fine with it. That is how homeschooling is going. That is how all the curriculum is going that we're using this year. And yeah, I'm overall pretty happy with everything that we're doing. I don't think there's anything that I'm like, I have to do this again. We're still plodding along with All About Spelling, and that's going well. I'm definitely seeing, like, especially my son, like his spelling has improved so much this year. And I don't think that's just the curriculum. I do think it's that and his increase in reading. Like, he's just exposed to words so much more, and so his brain is remembering things. But I think the combination of the two has been fantastic. So that's the update there. Let's talk about real life and all that pretty homeschool curriculum and all of that, and how it actually looks to apply it in real life, because it's a lot. And teaching 3 kids at different ages is a lot, and being a mom is a lot, and trying to fit everything into the day is just a lot. And I am going to tell you right now that I am for sure living in a state of overwhelm at the moment. I would not say I'm burnt out. I don't feel burnt out, but this is probably a precursor to burnout. And so I'm trying to make some intentional changes now to prevent that from happening. It's also the time of year, like we're going into August. we've had a lot of rain this winter here. In fact, yesterday we had a massive storm, like just massive. There was flooding all around us. Thankfully, we were okay where we are, but like the farmland around us was just underwater basically. And then I'm sure a lot of you guys know there was the tsunami threat, and that actually affected us down here in New Zealand as well, that massive earthquake in Russia. And we didn't get a tsunami warning, but in the sense that we weren't expecting like inundation, coastal inundation, but we did have like a warning for currents and like surges and all that kind of stuff. So nothing major, although they did send out an emergency alert text at 6:30 in the morning, and that woke me up. And if you know those alert texts, like they're not fun to wake up to. So that happened. We had a storm, we had the tsunami threat, and then my sister was like, I'm having contractions. And I was like, you can't have your baby today. The road was closed between me and where my sister lives, and I was just like, it is too much. So the time of year is crazy. Everyone's been sick. Thankfully, we have been mostly spared. My kids have had colds and stuff, but no one's been too sick. So I'm aware it's the time of year as well, but I've just got a lot going on at the moment. I have, by my own admission, overcommitted myself with work commitments. I've got a lot going on at the moment, like trying to keep track of all the things that I have deadlines for has been crazy. My husband was like, you need to pull back. No more. Do not say yes to anything else. I am trying to be good about that. I have just struggled with my house. So with our schedule, we school 4 days a week, and on Fridays, my Friday is my catch-up day. It's the clean the house, get everything reset again. My husband often works Saturdays, and then on Sundays, we are at church and with family all day on a Sunday. So Sundays are not a day of rest. We literally get nothing done at home on a Sunday. And so I really try and make it so I'm not cleaning on Saturdays, because we need some family time that's not just work related. For the last several weeks, my Fridays have not been normal Fridays. And so my house is just getting on top of me. There are little piles of clutter everywhere, like even I'm looking at my studio all around me, and there's just piles of stuff that need dealing with. I have not had the time. So that is really getting to me. And I've been brainstorming some things on how to handle it. Part of the reason is that our home is literally twice the size of our old home. And while I'm so grateful for it, I just haven't gotten to a good flow of being able to just maintain it. And I don't mean like having it perfectly immaculate, but just like maintenance. So a couple of things I've been thinking of. Well, first of all, next week, I'm planning on doing a bare minimum school week. So we're just going to scale right back to bare minimum subjects, reading and math. And with the extra time that I gain from doing that, I'm going to declutter, because you can't even get to clean your house if there's stuff everywhere. And there's just stuff everywhere at the moment. And it's probably not nearly as bad as I am feeling like it is, but because I'm overwhelmed, everything just feels amplified at the moment. So I need a week to do that. I need to go through piles and just organize things. And the other thing I've really considered, and I would love some feedback if anybody has done this, is paying someone to come and clean once a season, to do things like dust the spider webs and wipe down windowsills and clean windows, and not deep cleaning, but the stuff that you don't get to very often. And I know that everyone's priorities are different, but those things bother me. I don't like sitting in a house full of dust. My house gets messy, but I don't like it to be super dirty. So that's something I'm considering. I have had a cleaner come every second week, and it was when my kids were quite little, and it just didn't work well for us. I didn't like being in the house with someone cleaning there. It was just weird. But if it was just once a season, we could make ourselves busy on that day, and I could have very specific jobs set aside that I would like covered. So do let me know if you do something like that, or if you have done something like that. Like, let me know your feedback. I would like to hear from you. I am a little bit of a control freak, so I'm not 100% sure how I feel about it, but the idea of not having to stress about it so much does sound really appealing if I could build that into our budget and make it work. So those are a couple things that I'm thinking about and hoping it will help. I am trying to get my kids on board with more chores. They're already pretty good, but they could definitely be doing a little bit more. And yeah, so I'm hoping that'll help with the overwhelm, just like reducing work, like paid work, I should say, decluttering, and then maybe easing the load of cleaning a little bit by having someone help out once a season. So like 4 times a year is what I'm thinking. So if you're in a space of overwhelm right now, I'm right there with you. Doesn't mean we're going to stay here. We're going to figure it out and we'll make it work, but we do have to make some intentional choices for that to happen. So I think that's my update for the month of July. I'm excited to go through August. Hopefully it will be baby month. My sister is due her baby. Hopefully by the time this video goes live, she would have had that baby, but she's asked me to be there and I'm so excited to do that. She was my built-in babysitter when I had my kids. She's 7 years my junior. So this is her second baby and her first child is just absolutely scrumptious and adorable. And I am so grateful that I've been able to be an aunt when all my kids got a bit older because I love it so much. I have so many nieces and nephews and I love each of them. Just, it's amazing. So excited to hopefully be an aunt again in the next week or so. But thank you for watching, and questions for me, leave them down in the comments below and I will see you next time. Bye. What if the wind could spread your love? What if your sweetness could reach every